is Scotty, and today is the second time I'm doing Search for the Novelty, where I exploring new makeup releases within my current makeup collections. And I have to tell you, makeup releases these days are quite boring, especially holiday makeup. I mean, when think I think holiday makeup has lost the plot a little bit. In the past, I was very excited to see new releases during the holiday time in the United States. Also, like in Australia, they have the same kind of celebrations for Christmas. But recently, I have seen a lot of repetitions, a lot of redundancies, boring packaging, boring color story. It's just the same thing with new green and red packaging, and I feel like it's really hard for me to put together enough makeup products for today's video, so I'm trying my best. Overall, I feel like it could be me not wanting to purchase makeup these days. I want a low buy. I'm still on the low buy, and I want to save my money further for a specific purpose. That's why I feel like, okay, if I could find reasons to not purchase anything, to use more of my makeup, which is a pile of makeup in front of me right now, I would be very happy. If you are new to this kind of concept, it's kind of an anti-haul. I'm gonna talk about new makeup, but I'm not gonna buy any of them. Maybe one, maybe some, I don't know. I feel like they're interesting enough for me to talk about, but not enticing enough for me to really think about purchasing them. Okay, let's start off with a powder. We have Tom Ford. This is the new Architecture Soft Matte Blurring Powder, a super fine translucent powder that sets makeup like a filtered, just feel matte finish. A cloud-like veil blurs the look of imperfections with a soft focus matte finish. Formulated with hyaluronic acid, provides a smooth, seamless application, instantly mattifying to help control shine. It's $95. I would never have done for money. Like, the packaging looks really nice, look really loved, and even the brush, like the brush, probably useless, but I do have to give credit for the packaging. It looks so luxurious, and right away I knew that I would never have done for money. I don't know, like the last time I checked, it's available in Australia already, and it's $170. 170 Australian dollars. I will never have that money. Maybe like 30 years from now, when I have the higher end of six-figure salary, I would be able to purchase it. But it looks really beautiful. It looks like a nice matte setting powder, and so far in the last 2 months I don't see any new powder release that make me think about more than this one. So yeah, it's a matte powder. Like, what can you do with a matte powder? Like, it blurs, it smooths. So I'm gonna use my this is the Triple Fix Translucent Setting Powder. I have this shade Resilient Translucence, also mattifying powder, very blurring, very smoothing, and I already own it. And the thing about mattifying setting powder is that as you're watching it right now, I can be 80% sure that you already have a good matte setting powder. If you ever use powder at all, or if you have like combo to oily skin, you definitely have at least one powder. Or maybe you're just someone who have dry skin but you still want to set your makeup look, you have a matte setting powder. So spending 170 Australian dollars on a powder, it's insane to me. So I think it's kind of a branding incentivized for them to release this kind of powder, and they know that people who are really into Tom Ford to begin with, they could be fans of the brand, they could be loyal customer of the brand, they will buy it. And I know, like right now, if I search, I can see reviews of them. I think it's going to be a really good powder because Tom Ford, it has a reputation for releasing solid, good to great products, and I know there's a chance that it's going to be very good. But for the price tag, are you really buy it for the powder, or do you buy it for the packaging, for the experience? So I think it's going to be a pass for me. It's going to be a hard pass for me. If someone gifted it to me, that would be great. Like, I would gladly receive it because I know I don't have to spend money on some extra additional features of the product, and I feel like I can just enjoy the product for what it is. But if my money is spent on it, that would be a different story. That's going to be my own executive decisions on what feature of it that's really worth it. So I don't think, personally, $170 powder would be that great for me to spend my money on. I'd rather save it. Yeah, put that kind of money towards my emergency fund. Like, this powder is like $28 right now at Sephora Australia. I did notice that the price went up a little bit since I purchased it, so okay, it's gonna be a while for me to repurchase this, like you know, like since the price went up. And this economy, everything is going up in price, and I understand that. And even with this kind of 30-ish Australian dollars, I still have to think about it. Like, I don't have the mindset of getting a 170, I have to emphasize it, 170 Australian dollar powder. So yeah, it's a rant about the price of makeup, if you will. Next up, let's talk about Gucci. We're going very luxury right now. This is the holiday collections. I haven't seen any details about it yet, or at least the posts I'm seeing right now. It just has a very beautiful maroon, burgundy, cherry kind of red packaging, which is so gorgeous. And I want to talk about the blush. Like, I don't care about the eyeshadow quad. I think it's ugly. I think the color story is kind of, I don't want that. But the blush, specifically the packaging, I think Gucci wasted the best packaging that they ever had. I really like the color. It reminds me of a kind of vintage red color, and the kind of compact they come with reminds me of a very, very 1920s, 1930s kind of time. So I think it's really beautiful. And the colors, I think they wasted the packaging on two boring blush colors. If they ever match the packaging to the color inside, just my idea. So I pulled out this single eyeshadow I thought is the closest to the packaging that I could find in my collections, and I'm gonna use a little bit of it. It's from the brand Peripera. It's the ink fitting eyeshadow. I got it in the shade 30 is the name, but it's in Korean, so it doesn't matter. So just look at the color. I want the color of the blush to be similar to this one. Is it too much to ask? Maybe this is not the aesthetic, but I mean, what a chance for them. Like, it's holiday, just do a blush like this, nobody would care. And like, I feel like people would be more excited to try a blush like this during holiday. And I know this blush color would be quite dark for most skin tone, but I don't know, I just want to demonstrate right now the way that I do my deep color blush. For example, I bought this NYX Buttermilk blush. This is the darkest shade among a shade that they have available. Very dark, but I don't have to use a lot of it. I just have to use a tiny bit of it, blend it out. So right now I pick up a little bit of powder on my hand right now, and then pick it up with a brush, try to diffuse it. Also blend out all the excess powder on the brush, and just gently tap it to my cheek. I feel like sometimes luxury brand, they have the advantage of good packaging. They have gorgeous packaging, and they can invest so much money to the packaging, to the development, to the designing, to the decorations of their packaging, but then they didn't wisely put the effort into the color selections within their range, and I feel like it's quite of a shame. Also, like, it's a lost chance for them to explore a wider range of customer, but I know because they are a luxury brand, they know the customer base that they are working with. So I think it's more of a business tactics rather than trying to make makeup become more accessible to wider range of the populations, and I don't blame them for that. Everything is just business. But yeah, overall I think that they could do so much with the holiday packaging because it's so beautiful. But at the end of the day, they pick two very basic. One is like a muted orange, like a muted beige. It's not gonna work on my skin tone, and the other one is like a rose, but also very muted, very light. So it's like, I don't know. It's not gonna work for a lot of skin tone, isn't it? Like, if you go for some shade more in the middle, I feel like dark skin tone can benefit of it. They can use it as more muted blush on their skin, but other larger skin tone people, they can still enjoy it by just like using a light hand like this one. Ooh, I should pull this eyeshadow out to use the blush more often. It looks very nice, like a cherry red. Oh, so nice. And if I use it in this way, I don't think it's pigmented at all. It's really easy to blend. Next up, we have a really cool highlighter. It's from Made by Mitchell. It's the Blushed Pressed Jewel Highlighter Palette. Wow, it's only 10 pounds, 10 British pounds. I mean, well, it's still a lot in Australian dollars, but I mean, who cares? I'm not gonna buy these, at least in the near future. I'm looking at two jewels. It's called Outnumber. It has like a pink and a deeper pinkish purple one, and I am looking at this one. This is really dark, but I think it's beautiful. It's gonna work very well on darker skin tone. It has like a duochrome pink to purple highlighter, and then a very strong purple highlighter. This is a fantasy me wanting to try a cool, interesting highlighter, but knowing me, I am not that experimental and adventurous with my highlighters, so I'm gonna tone it down a little bit. If I was ever into more artistic, more intricate kind of makeup look, I would assume that I could use these shades, although they are really not made for my skin. They say it's a new formula that offers a silky, lightweight texture that blends seamlessly into the skin, providing a beautiful glow that can range from a subtle sheen to a bold, reflective finish. Okay, so it means that you can share it out, which is good. Like, I think that everyone who purchases this would be very glad with their decisions. I will use this shade. It doesn't have a shade name. This is my e.l.f. Bite-Size Rose Water Quad. So this mauve shade right here, it doesn't necessarily any of the 4 shades that I mentioned, but it's fun enough. Like, this shade is not like a typical highlighter shade. It's quite deep to my skin as well, but because it's very sparkly, and if I sheer it out, it's actually worked on my skin as a highlighter because I've tried to do it before and I was successful. It's look quite dark in the pan, but on my skin right now I don't think it's that cool tone and purple looking. So that's why I think, yeah, but I do have other eyeshadows I can use as highlighters as well. And this is kind of a recommendations for new makeup learners. If you have a certain selections of shimmering eyeshadow, you already have for yourself some options of highlighters. So don't just jump into buying highlighters without knowing your taste and reference. You can use eyeshadow to test the water. And I think this looks quite nice. I could say that this holiday season I'm more into boring palettes. So I have this palette. This is the new Bobbi Brown Smokey Gleam eyeshadow palette. So it has one metallic eyeshadow. They call it metallic eyeshadow, which is weird. It's a soft pink lilac with the name Sugar Crystals. Look at that reflective shade. I think it's gorgeous. But the rest of the palette is quite like muted rose, beige, brown, and not really using the matte beige color. So the star of the palette is that soft lilac pink shimmer shade. And then another Bobbi Brown palette. I don't understand why they have two collections for holidays, but it is what it is. So this is the Dream Gleam Luxe eyeshadow palette. So I feel like the shimmers in the palette would be the Luxe eyeshadow formula, which I've been dying to try. I really want them. So there's a couple of shades like a warm matte cream, a true silver, a medium blue silver, a warm medium brown, a light tufted brown, a light champagne, and a true bronze, and a deep plum brown. So I think this palette is also quite basic, and I'm also attracted to the two silverish, cool toned periwinkle lilac kind of shade. So the true silver is called Pure Silver and Grey Diamond. And then Urban Decay. They have two palettes. I mean, at this stage, are we over the Spec Cowboy phase yet, or like we keep releasing things that relate to Spec Cowboy? I don't know, but I think it's still beautiful. I'm looking at the palette that shapes like a star. I don't mind the packaging. I think it's still cool and interesting enough. It's beautiful though. Like, I think it's genius. Just saying. It's available at Ulta, so feels like I will never be able to get it in Australia, but that's okay. Once again, the glimmer brown purple, they call it a cool brown shimmer with silver glitter. It's called Endless Party. It's the one that I want the most, and then it has some of the filler shades, so I feel like, oh, I can leave it or take it. So like I said, there's one shade in each palette maybe that I feel like, oh, I want the palette for that specific shade, and the other shade would be just like filler shades, some matte shades, some sand shades. But I don't know if I have one of these palettes, I would reach for one specific shade, and I'm trying to find that one in my collection, and that would be this one. So this is the Klavuu Urban Pearlisation eyeshadow. It's in the shade Glam Brown, and I heard that it's very close to Spec Cowboy. Just saying. I mean, I've never tried Spec Cowboy, so I don't know, but I have this shade with me, and it's in a single form, so I didn't feel like I wasted money on a palette to just like one eyeshadow. And I feel like the shade is really beautiful. I'm going to use the shade over my lid to see how I feel. If I want to blend it out, to blend the edges out with like a matte, And having a single shade like this is technically very easy to work with. Like, that's like one done eyeshadow, and right now I can dip into any matte shades in my collection. So I think I would dip into this matte right here to just blend the edges a little bit. Now looking at this palette and looking at this shade, I feel like I have the vibe of the first palette that I showed you. It's called Smokey Gleam, and I have it. I have that palette with me looking at this one. So I forget to tell you, this is the Sephora Color Shifter palette. This is the mauve. No, it's the Unlimited Mauve. And honestly, like, if we're being really honest with myself, are all makeup releases and holiday sets, they are becoming boring, right? Like, am I the only one to feel that? Historically, makeup for the holiday was or has been all about the packaging, because that's when you use makeup to gift someone. So the presentations or the presentability of the product is very important. But I think we are in the era of, oh, everything should be basic, everything should not be too much, everything should just be beige and kind of almond, mom, you know what I mean? And then we lose it, that cool, interesting packaging. We have like sparkly, and that's it. We have the Gucci with the really red burgundy cherry packaging, which is really cheerful, and that's it. We don't see like Too Faced with their castle shape, all of the, I don't know, festival kind of vibe anymore. And the quality is always the same. I think makeup has improved a lot, but every year you look at the progress in makeup, it's kind of the same to me. So I feel like it's gonna be pretty hard for me these days to pick up something just for the sake of the holiday. And I mean, like I said, like, to put together this video is kind of challenging for me, because it's hard to admit that I'm not interested in makeup or holiday releases in general. But like, deep down, do you really believe that, oh, I want to purchase those makeup releases because they are really, really stunning, and I want to purchase them to use them? I think a lot of people, because they have a channel, so they need to do that, they need to do reviews. But as basic consumers like us, we can get past a lot of things. And hopefully somebody realizes that, and they can feel assured that, oh, I don't need to buy any new makeup releases just because they're in holiday packaging. They are something cool, or like I want to give for myself during the holiday. I mean, you can always buy as a gift to someone, you can buy a gift to yourself, but just think about, if it's a gift, it has to be up to the quality of a gift. Finally, we have a lip gloss. We are going back to Gucci. Also the same holiday collections. I didn't have a shade name for now, but I think it's a new shade, and it's the quite core. It's like a red with a hint of pink and purple in it. I think it's a new shade because I checked the current selections, and they don't have the shade available right now. So I think I'm gonna DIY a gloss color that looks like that. I feel like I need a sheer but sparkling kind of base, so I'm using my ColourPop, what's it called, Glossy Lip? Ultra Glossy Lip. I have the shade Granita, and then I'm gonna mix it with my e.l.f. Ride or Die Lip Balm. I have the shade Cheeky Cherry. I think the color is definitely more plummy than the one from Gucci, but I don't know. I feel like with that kind of packaging, you can go a little bit further in these directions, and I think I like this color. Like, I'm attracted to this color more than the red pinky color. So although I really like the packaging, I just want to wear and experiment with the kind of makeup that I like. And with this kind of video, maybe the good reminder is that I try to find usage in my makeup collections in the way that I feel the most comfortable with, in the way that I feel like, oh, I'm gonna get the best look out of all of them, but not just, oh, I see some newness in the new releases and I have to replicate them all. Maybe that's not a way to go, because maybe there's something about how new they are and you feel like, oh, that would add a lot to my collections, but it turns out no, you like your makeup the way that you do, and there's some reason why your makeup collections is the way that it is. So just embrace it, to embrace the nature of how you like your makeup. You don't have to reaching out for all the new trends or the new releases, because maybe they are not really for you. And finally, in this series, I have like a white card that I put at the end. I have two today, just to talk about a ridiculous choice of makeup releases that I feel like, oh well, like they shouldn't have done that, shouldn't they? So let's start with Pat McGrath. People know that Pat McGrath is not the same it was in the previous years, and the new releases for the holiday, they skipped the mothership, which is another story, and a lot of people feel very, very, what is the word, like suspicious about that, and then they feel a little bit disappointed that there was no mothership this year. But it's not my problem. I'm not gonna buy that expensive palette. But the holiday releases, the packaging is not new, the color story is mediocre. Why? Why? So the last year holiday release of 2023 is still available at Sephora Australia for 30% off for a while already. So I feel like nobody in Australia really wanted those 5-pan eyeshadow palette. I was thinking to grab one of those because they had 30% off. It's like, for Pat McGrath, it's like one of the cheapest options for eyeshadow at Sephora Australia, and that's Pat McGrath. So I feel like this releases, they can leave it or take it, doesn't really matter. I think they need to have something for the holiday, because it's like if you get quiet for too long, people think that your brands are getting in trouble. But why? Like, is anything new about this palette that I cannot fathom the more I look at it? Or it's just a new old Pat McGrath palette? Like, I don't see any exciting. It's like NARS over and over again, the same thing. And the duo, they are not the special shades in the Mothership palette. So why do they put them together in a duo and sell them for $25? Okay, is it pass for me? I just feel like, oh, Pat McGrath could be this boring. And I want to grab last year palettes because they look really cool. They do look beautiful. For me, I've never tried Pat McGrath before. I feel like this color story is boring enough to make me feel excited about using them. But these color story are definitely not for me. So sorry, it's a pass. And Hourglass. People said that the face palettes this year are brand new because they put in some new shades, and the deepest palette is like the deepest that they ever made. Is it deep enough though? I feel like the deepest palette in the Lotus packaging, once again the packaging, I think it's really subpar compared to last year's packaging. Do you remember the owl packaging? Wow, that's beautiful. There's something mighty and posed and classy about the owl packaging, and that's just one packaging. I found the other packagings are really nice as well. But this year packaging, the dragons, last year was the year of the dragons. And I mean, if you follow the lunar calendar or something, this year's the year of the snake. but they had the snack in previous year, so I think they couldn't use it again. Okay, so the dragon, and then the eye, and the lotus, they are incoherent. I don't see a theme here, and it struck my mind that way. That's like, I don't see a theme, I don't see a pattern, and it's painful. Let's talk about the shade selections. I don't understand why people say that they are really glad that Hourglass listen to the customer and do something different, because I feel like the same old thing. It's the same. Like, have you, or are you biased? I feel like a lot of people are really biased from my very biased opinions, that they think, oh, something new equal new values, like extra values. But no, I think the deepest palette is not deep enough. Like, I can see myself using a bunch of those shades, not like as finishing powders, but I can use them as highlighter or bronzer topper. But if I can use them, I don't think it's deep enough for darker skin tone. And I don't understand why people say that, oh, it's become very, very inclusive. It's not. Deep down, have you been honest with yourself, or you just try to justify for something that you like? It's okay if it's suitable for you. So the lighter palette and the middle shade palette, it's okay if they work for you. But to say that, oh, they have an additional shade or like shade selection, so it means they are very inclusive right now, it's very ignorant. You don't see at the depth of people who really want to try those palettes. I mean, do I think of purchasing it? I think they are like $90 US dollars, so I think it would be around 180 to 200 Australian dollars when it arrives here. And we have Mecca, it carries Hourglass now and then. I'm not sure if it's going to be available in Australia. I really want the second palette, but I don't like the packaging. It's like, I feel like I want to try Hourglass so bad. I want to try this palette, the ambient lighting edit unlock kind of palette, because it's been so hype in the last few years. So I feel like I want to try it for that part alone. But I'm disappointed about this year releases. Like, I don't know, I want to try it. It's like, if you call me an hypocrite, I'd accept it. I want to try it because of the quality inside. But I don't think it's anything new. I try it because of the cumulative hype that it gets throughout the years. It's kind of a rush for me trying to film it, and now it's really dark. But I mean, I just feel like talking about makeup, applying some makeup to my collections. I'm not sure if you can still see clearly what I'm wearing on my face, but the whole point is makeup is that boring, so you don't really have to care that much about the performance. I know you already have beautiful makeup in your collections, and you just have to use them. Hear me out. Everything that you own right now and you like them, they are somewhat better than the new releases. Trust me. I don't want you to buy anything that's not gonna perform well on your skin, or it's gonna let you down. So just take a moment. I mean, you can buy it in future or whatever. I'm not here to control you, but take a moment, use some of the makeup that you own, and you feel like they are just as good. Once again, I'm Claudia, and hopefully we see each other again. Bye.